In 2007, Candace and Eric McMullin and their young daughter Natalie got the news they'd all been hoping for. Candace was pregnant again, and the whole family looked forward to finding out whether the new addition would be a boy or a girl.
We went in for a regular ultrasound routine exam, and the ultrasound technician, she was asking us, well, do you have a guess? And I remember Eric telling her she thinks it's a boy, and she said, well, she's right, because it's a boy.
But then, the mood changed.
All of a sudden, it gets very quiet, and she's intently looking at the ultrasound screen, and I remember asking, do you see something? You know, what's there? And she's not going to say anything to you at that moment, but you feel something, so your heart kind of skips a beat.
The ultrasound showed a small, almost imperceptible growth near the baby's head.
Just a small tumor in the neck. They weren't sure what it was.
2 weeks later, the lump had doubled in size. 2 weeks after that, it had doubled again. And it continued to grow at an alarming rate. The baby had a rare and fast-growing tumor called a cervical teratoma, sometimes known as a shadow twin.
So the teratoma is a solid tumor that contains all of the different types of tissue layers. It is an attempt at the body to form a twin. But unfortunately, there is insufficient amount of tissue to actually give rise to a full human being.
Eric went online to research the condition further. What he found frightened him.
Typically, the tumor itself doesn't necessarily kill the child, but it's the complications that the tumor causes that'll make it just so that they can't live.
The only positive information Eric found was that teratomas, like the one that was threatening his baby's life, are rarely cancerous.
We always sort of held that out as a bright spot, you know, at least this kind of tumor is not typically malignant, you know, it's actually very, very rarely malignant.
The McMullins turned to Children's Hospital Los Angeles and its Institute for Maternal and Fetal Health. Although Children's doesn't deliver babies, it partners with other hospitals that do, including nearby Hollywood Presbyterian. A unique team was assembled to handle what was expected to be a dangerous delivery and difficult postpartum period.
The Institute for Maternal Fetal Health is a multidisciplinary, coordinated center with multiple specialists who have integrated input into patient care.
Twice weekly, ultrasounds tracked the tumor's growth.
A profile view of the fetus demonstrated a mass that roughly was the size of the baby's abdominal circumference that was protruding from the side of the neck.
It was clear that that cervical mass was probably even bigger than the baby's head.
Depending on the degree to which this tumor blocked the breathing tube or the trachea, it might not be possible for the newborn to breathe after birth.
The team quickly decided that the only chance of saving the McMullins' baby boy was a rarely used and complex type of cesarean birth called an exit procedure.
We use a modification of a cesarean delivery in which the baby is delivered either partly or completely. But the thing that we don't do is we don't clamp the umbilical cord and we don't cut the umbilical cord. So that instead of immediately being removed from a source of oxygen, the newborn has a continued source of oxygen from the placenta.
The exit procedure is a complex procedure. It involves many disciplines working very closely together in a fairly small area. It has to happen sequentially, very quickly, and there are only very few centers in the US actually that can do this type of procedures.
Before the advent of the exit procedure, a lot of these babies actually would end up dying.